all the time. Okay, well, we'll go ahead. Welcome, everybody.
Okay, we have a flag.
Yep, hold on 2 seconds. I changed my screen over here. Okay, take it away, Mike.
All right, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Mike.
You bet.
Besides the obvious guests, I don't think we have any other guests, do we?
No, well, we got Heck and Fred, so I don't know if they've got some fancy news they want to share, or they're just excited about the harbor. No, I guess no other announcements. Okay. All right, I'm gonna plow right through to mine. So tonight is the first of 2 public meetings by the Fortuna Parks and Rec Department about the upcoming, hopefully, Riverfront Parkway. That'll be tonight at 5:30 until 7 at the River Lodge. Everyone is welcome to attend. If you cannot attend, there is a link in our email to email Cameron, and also there's a Google Drive, which if you need that, you can send that to me, and then it's a quick little survey you can fill out with some of your ideas for what kind of recreational things you want to see down there. So remember, tonight 5:30. The second meeting will be next Wednesday, the 20th, same time, same place. Also this week is a Facebook Live event with Chief Casey Day and Lieutenant Eberhardt from our Fortuna Police Department. You can find more information on that event at the Fortuna Police Department's Facebook page. Next Thursday and Friday is the Redwood Coast Region Economic Development Summit. Tickets are still on sale. They are $75. And also next week is our multi-chamber mixer. It'll be a virtual mixer hosted by Co-Central Credit Union. We'll have all the member service branches represented, and there'll be virtual tables that you could network in and hop around and see everybody. And then we'll have door prizes and some presentations. It'll be a lot of fun. That is Thursday, October 21st from 5:30 to 7. There is an event page on our Facebook page, a link to that so that you can register, or it's also in today's email. Trunk or Treat is back for 2021. Friday, October 29th from 3 to 5. Bring your kids down to downtown Fortuna, dressed in their best costumes, and get some candy from our local merchants and organizations that will be on Main Street. The streets will be blocked off, so make a note of that if you are driving. And then finally, next week, our special guest will be Beth Burks, Executive Director at the Humboldt County Association of Governments. She's going to tell us all about what they do, and I'm excited for that because I have lots of questions. So anyway, that's it for me, and I will turn it back to Bailey.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Anyone have anything exciting going on they want to share? Melissa, nothing? Melissa always has something exciting.
I mean, when's Trunk or Treat again? Friday?
Friday, October 29th.
Kyle, we don't have anything exciting going on. It's pretty boring right now. No food weeks or nothing. Getting ready for the holidays. And if you've got any cute birth announcements or engagements, weddings, send them my way. I want all that stuff.
Cool.
How'd the enterprise rollout go?
I mean, I don't know yet. I haven't checked all the boxes. I mean, good news all around. Kyle had some family in New York or somebody call the office just thanking him for keeping it going and growing it. I mean, just no gripes. Everyone loves it. So I'm going to start. If anybody wants to do any fundraisers, I thought of this like wild idea the other day. Like, remember in grammar school when we used to sell like magazine subscriptions and the school would get like money? Well, now I was taking pictures yesterday at the football game for the little Huskies, and a bunch of parents were like, "How do we see your photos?" And I go, you can subscribe to the enterprise. So they were all excited that the kids' photos were going to be in the enterprise. And then that just triggered me to think that I can give the organizations money back for going and getting subscriptions. So I'm going to roll that out. So look for that. And it'll be a little fun way to give back to the community and also grow the paper. So yay, that's it. You want me? I can keep talking. My chickens are molting. There's feathers everywhere.
Okay. No, I'm sure you could go on and on about pickleball. No.
Yeah.
But I see Mr. Cameron Molt just joined us. So Cameron, I announced tonight's meeting, but if you would like to elaborate on that, go for it. We'd love to have it.
Perfect. If you don't mind me sharing my screen right now.
Let me let me make you a co-host. It's been in my emails, but I did not share it today. So go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. I'll be brief. It sounds like you already informed everybody. Thank you. And sorry I'm a few minutes late, but I just wanted to take an opportunity again to remind the public that we are in the process. So the city is in the process of purchasing this 7+ acre parcel near the River Lodge off of Riverwalk Drive, between Riverwalk Drive and the Eel River. So we are applying for a Prop 68 grant. The Rural Recreation Program grant to apply for grant funds to develop some recreational amenities on this parcel. So we would like to get public feedback. We have to, in order for us to submit the grant application, we have to do at least 2 public outreach meetings, which we are doing, one of which is tonight, the 11th at the River Lodge, and then another one on the 20th, both from 5:30 to 7. We'll have cookies and drinks there. So this is a good opportunity for any community members. You don't have to be a Fortuna citizen to come and give us your feedback on what you'd like to see in that area. So I will be there, as well as some members of Lako and Associates. They're the facilitators for the public outreach. And then Aaron Ponte, who's Ponte Landscaping Architecture, will be doing the conceptual design. So come on by. Hopefully we see you tonight, 5:30 to 7. I did cone off the park area. So you'll notice a series of cones, at least along Riverwalk Drive and along the edge of the parcel going towards Tractor Supply. So people can get a good idea of what exact park space we're talking about. So feel free to go walk that and get some ideas and your creative juices flowing before you come to the meetings. So thank you, Renee. I appreciate you allowing me to speak.
Absolutely. And I will throw, when I post this up to YouTube, I'll throw that Google link for people to fill out that survey.
Perfect. Yeah. We do have the survey
in case they
as
missed
well,
the meetings.
So. Cool.
Yeah, just in case that I already filled it out myself because I had some ideas.
All right.
But
Good.
yeah.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Renee.
Thanks, Cameron.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Yep.
We'll see you tonight.
All right. See you tonight.
Okay, any other announcements before we let our guests speak? No? Okay, Larry Otker,
Oh, you muted yourself.
Let's try that again.
Try that
Larry
again.
Otker with the Executive Director of the Humboldt Bay Harbor District. It's all you now.
Okay, well, thank you. It's good to be back in Fortuna. I always like sunny Fortuna. I don't get down there enough, it seems like, but it's a beautiful place, and I love to go down there. And so I'm going to be talking today about our efforts to prepare the Port of Humboldt Bay to become California's offshore wind port.
Uh-oh, did we lose Larry? I think he's frozen. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Wow.
Yeah, looks like he's coming.
Anybody have any icebreaker jokes while we while we wait? Uh-oh, I think he's gonna have to come back in. Okay, we'll just wait for a second here. Hopefully he I don't know if he realizes he's frozen.
Right,
Oh,
I'm gonna
yep,
go to the
okay.
dog park later if anybody wants to meet us there.
Give him a second. He'll come back in.
Oh, we should talk about
No.
the dog. Can we talk about the dog park and
Oh,
how
gosh.
we need to take some initiatives here, and we need to clean up the dog park. We need to plant some flowers.
Flowers? I don't know about flowers, but we could probably use some new grass.
Yeah, I took Phoebe there on Saturday and she was a muddy mess by the time we were done. I can't go to the dog park in the morning because of the mist on the ground. Yeah.
Well, and my little puppy likes to eat dirt, so.
Yeah, we have issues at the dog park, and the little dogs don't get water. And there's a discrimination problem
have to-
against the
it's
little
not
dog.
You just have to walk down to the faucet and then back. I know.
We need to beautify it, but I think Merritt's gonna pave it for us. Didn't we get some grant money?
No, I do not recall. Remember, we're still recording, so no, I do not recall.
Yeah, Mike,
No.
Mike, you can answer this for us, right?
Hey,
I think that
Cameron,
was part of the improvement.
Cameron jumped off. He
oh,
knew this
heck,
was
I said in the
coming.
chat. Okay.
Yeah, no, he jumped off already. All right, I'm gonna, Bailey, if you can, I don't know, keep people entertained. I'm gonna see if I can get Larry on the phone and figure out what's going on.
I think that's a better job for Melissa.
Are we still recording? Stop recording then.
Because then I'll lose the beginning.
Okay.
So it
well,
has to stay. So mind
I can't-
yourself.
you guys want to know what's in the enterprise? Have you guys subscribed yet? If you haven't read Jennifer Bailey's fiction story or not, fictional story, it's really good.
Yeah, can you actually tell? I've seen her post about it, but what is it? It's just like a little fictional story every week in the enterprise.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
and there's a cliffhanger. So like everyone, her first one. Okay, I'll tell you what it's about a little bit. They're written really quickly. So the story, like you're gonna get like a year's worth of a story in like just one little, like 100 words or whatever she writes. So this one this week, it's about like this girl and her mom's a alcoholic, and it's her experience when she like goes home and has to deal with her mom, and and then there's a cliffhanger. So the story, she's just really descriptive when she's relaying her. Oh, look who's back.
I'm sorry, did I come back?
There he
Yeah,
is.
you're back.
Yes.
Welcome
okay.
back. We've just been filling in, you know.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I'm done. All finished.
Great
I'm
presentation.
Let's start this again.
Let me get going here. Okay. So. Am I there?
Yep.
And you can
Okay.
see me. All right.
I can
good.
see you. We can hear you.
So, okay, well, I'm just going to get rolling here. So, like we said before, is we're California's second largest bay, and so we need to start acting like it. And we're a real port, and we haven't been for the last 20-some years, and it's just a crying shame. And so we're trying to get the port back into full operations. And so, we have, 48 feet deep at the entrance and 38 feet all the way up at the SMO channel and then down to Fields Landing, 26 feet deep. And we have a variety of different port infrastructure. We're really focused on the offshore wind industry, which they're projected to be about 14,000 direct construction jobs in the state of California. Again, 14,000, a 20 to 50 billion gross domestic product industry, and they need lots of investment in port infrastructure. And so how that works is they'll be putting these floating platforms offshore of Humboldt, and then they're floating. So there's anchors at the bottom. It's way too deep out there where they do it. And so they're floating and they'll be interconnected with cables. And then for the most part, it'll be a landing project, and it will very likely be landing at the King Salmon PG&E power plant is where it will be coming ashore. And they're also looking at doing a subsea cable all the way from Humboldt to the Bay Area. And the Department of Defense is financing that right now. And so that study is underway. And so when we look at these offshore wind turbines, they're huge. They're absolutely huge. In 2021, this is the Golden Gate Bridge in the background and the Eiffel Tower here. These are like 853 feet tall. And when they go out of the bay, they're fully assembled upright. And so you cannot take them out the Golden Gate Bridge. And so none of the ports in the Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco, none of the ports in the Bay Area can handle this because they can't get under the bridge. The Port of San Diego has the Coronado Bridge. They can't get under that. And LA Long Beach is just totally congested. There's no way they can take any additional capacity. And so Humboldt has been the place that's been identified as the port in the West Coast to do the offshore wind industry. And so 21 miles directly off shore of Humboldt is where the Bureau of Offshore Energy Management has announced that there'll be a call area. You may have saw in the news that the Secretary of the Interior was visited the port of Humboldt Bay, and we toured the facility along with Congressman Huffman, and they've announced that they're going to lease this area next year. This area along with an area in Morro Bay. And so what that means is that they basically have these call areas that are going to be in phase one. And the Humboldt call area, which is going to be 1.6 gigawatts, and the Morro Bay call area, which will be 3 gigawatts. And so Humboldt, of course, is right here where Eureka is, and Morro Bay is off of approximately San Luis Obispo. And in future phases, they've already identified, 4.3 gigawatts, the Diablo Canyon, and that's where the nuclear power plant is, and then another 6.2 gigawatts off Cape Mendocino, and 6.6 gigawatts off of Great North. And so this is a significant amount of power that's going to be coming right off of our shoreline here. And so we've really been looking at how do you grow an offshore wind cluster? In other words, how do we build the manufacturing, supply base, and everything that's going to be needed for the nacelles, which is really the top part of the turbines, the hubs, the assemblies, the blades, towers, foundation, cable arrays, and all of the plethora of pieces of equipment that are needed to supply this $50 billion industry. And there's no West Coast industry right now that's in place to do this. And so the state and the federal government and the private sector are looking at where can they develop this new industries here on the West Coast. So we really kind of looked at the port of Rotterdam in Netherlands. And this is a tower manufacturing facility in Netherlands. Here's the towers of where they're at. And then looked, and this is for April of just this year, where construction is starting on the America's largest offshore wind hub. And this just happens to be in New Jersey, where their private sector is investing approximately $200 million into port infrastructure to build this new tower manufacturing facility in New Jersey. And so when you look at the offshore wind and you kind of really look and you say, well, what is it they're going to do? Again, this is in June of 2021, and people may tell you that they've never done this before, these floating. I can tell you this is one right here, and it's off China, and they just built this. And so these are absolutely giant. They're huge. And then what happens is basically you have to have a heavy lift dock, a brand new heavy lift dock, and there's none on the West Coast that can handle this. Again, there's none on the entire West Coast of the United States that can handle these kinds of weights. And so this is what's called a submersible barge. And so they nudge these big foundations off of the barge. Once they get it onto the barge, then they'll fill it up with water and they'll sink it. And then they'll float the platform away, and then they'll raise the barge back up. And then what they will do is they'll begin to assemble those on port. So again, they will build these on shore, put them over on a semi-submersible barge, sink the barge, refloat them, and then they will start to assemble them on port. And so we really kind of focused in on what's called Redwood Marine Terminal 1. And for you that may not be familiar with this, that's basically when you're driving over the Samoa Bridge, you're going towards the Pacific Ocean, towards Samoa, then it's the very first dock on the left. And so this is really, the smoke cookhouse is literally right over here. And this is that dock right here. And there's the former pulp mill. And so the area that we really identified is this entire area right here below the town of Samoa, between the town of Samoa and the smoke cookhouse. And so that was kind of the first thing. We started looking at this and saying, okay, where can we do this and what can we do? And so we've been working with the private sector and a number of different people. And then this was prepared by Acre Offshore Wind. And this is a rendition, and this is just assuming that what's going to happen is there's going to be no manufacturing here in Humboldt. They're going to basically manufacture all the components someplace else, and then they're going to bring them into port. So they would all come in on ship, offload on ship, and then they would basically do what's called vertical integration. They would basically manufacture these things right there on the side of the dock with a big crane. And then once they get them assembled, then they would tow them fully upright out the bay. So again, they assemble them all the way on the in port, and then they tow them out 21 miles into the other places around the area. And so we're kind of looking at this and saying, well, what can we do in Humboldt Bay, and how can we prepare ourselves to be this next offshore wind industry? Because again, there's been pretty much who's who of the industry from Europe, the East Coast, that's come to the Port of Humboldt, toured this, Secretary of Interior, Governor's Office of Economic Development, all the agencies, all focused on Humboldt Bay. Everybody's eyes are on us. This is going to happen. This is real. And so what we did is we put together this master plan, and we basically looked at this and said, this is the small cookhouse is literally right here. And so if we were to basically build this brand new dock, 2,000 linear foot long dock, and then so that they could come in and assemble all of these imports and basically tow them directly out the federal channel and out to the area. And so if they were just going to do, they were going to be manufactured someplace else, then all they would need is about, this area to the north of this. And so in other words, this area is all they would need if they were going to manufacture everything someplace else and bring them here. And so then what we showed them is that they could also do a tower manufacturing facility here. And we literally put in the same dimensions as I showed you in Rotterdam, Netherlands, and in New Jersey, and said they could do a tower manufacturing facility here, and they could also do a blade manufacturing facility here. We could essentially do all of the components right in Humboldt Bay, is what we showed the industry and other people. And so just while I have this in here, this is the master plan for the town of Samoa. And again, this has been all approved. There's a brand new wastewater treatment plant that's already under construction and here's the Harbor District's ocean outfall pipe that was from the former pulp mill. The brand new wastewater treatment plant is now connected to the ocean outfall pipe and discharged. This is the Nordic Aquifers project, and the county is ready to circulate the environmental impact report in the 1st of November, and they're planning to go to hearing in January on this project. You may have also heard about the broadband trans-Pacific fiber optic cables, and those are right here at this location on the Harbor District's property. Those are under construction right now. The ship is directly offshore and is starting to pull those cables today. This is happening now. And so all of this is in the works and in progress. Within the town of Samoa, there's also a new light industrial park that's all approved, received Coastal Commission approval, and is in the process of being developed. And so again, we developed this kind of master plan here, and we laid out a phased approach of how you can develop it. The Harbor District hired Moffitt and Nickel, who is an engineering firm that specializes in port development, and they prepared cost estimates and detailed construction plans for the project. And so again, why would they want to come to Humboldt? The call area is only 21 miles directly offshore, 21 miles. We have these deep federal navigation channels, no bridges, no overhead obstructions, hundreds of acres of vacant and underutilized industrial lands, and opportunities for manufacturing, fabrication, marshaling, vertical integration, and operation and maintenance once it's all in place. We're centrally located on the West Coast, and so as these are developed down in Morro Bay and even up into Coos Bay, we can manufacture and assemble these and then distribute those up and down the West Coast. And there's also pretty broad community support for this. I don't want to seem like there's no opposition. This is Humboldt County. You can guarantee that there will be people that will be opposed to it. but there's also a great deal of people that would traditionally be opposing projects like this that are very much in favor because they see that climate change is real and that we need to get off of the oil production and other things. And offshore wind will dramatically help the state of California to be carbon neutral by the year 2040. So again, the plan is basically manufacture these in Eureka. When the Humboldt and ultimately when the Del Norte and Mendocino call areas come online, then we would supply those from Humboldt Bay. We believe that we can also supply down to Morro Bay and Diablo Canyon from Humboldt. And even if some of the other components are manufactured in other ports, then they can easily tow them up to Humboldt Bay and that we can become the marshaling port for this. So then where are we at and really our pathway to success? In July of 2021, the state of California approved $20 million for offshore wind in the budget. This is in the budget right now today. And of that, 11 million was specifically budgeted for this project to jumpstart this project and to get the new terminal that's required to support the offshore wind industry. They also appropriated an additional 6.5 million for the California Coastal Commission and the Fish and Wildlife in order to do permit streamlining and coordination to basically work with the Harbor District and our partners to overcome regulatory burdens that typically slow down and kill all of these projects. Again, this project is being really jump-started by the Biden administration and the Gavin Newsom administration, and they're the ones that are saying a whole government approach is required in order to make this happen. In July, the port, we applied for a $56 million grant under the Port Infrastructure Development Program, and this $11 million was specifically earmarked to be the matching funds for that project. The total cost of the phase one that we applied for was $145 million project to build a brand new terminal here in Humboldt Bay. This Thursday, I'm going to the board and asking the board to authorize me to submit a request for qualifications to hire a firm to do the environmental impact report for the project and to hire an engineer that's going to help us through this project. And again, that is this Thursday is when we're working on that. We're anticipating that we should find out whether we're awarded all or portion of the $56 million grant by the end of this year. And so in mid-2022, the Secretary of the Interior, when she was here, and in many other places, they've announced that the Humboldt and Morro Bay call areas will be leased to the private sector. So this is going to happen in the next year timeframe of when they would actually lease those. And so we're anticipating that there's going to be approximately a 2 to 3 year permitting process. This is California. It takes a long time to get permits, and that we would begin construction in 2025. And so community benefits is really a big thing that we're really sort of focusing on. And I'm not going to go into this really in detail, other than what we're working on is how do we get the most community benefits off the offshore wind industry? In other words, they don't just build this offshore and then Humboldt County is not receiving the benefits, the jobs and everything else goes someplace else. And so we're working with our partners to get them to invest in port infrastructure, developing supply chains locally so that they're buying these things locally, local manufacturing, retail, distribution, workforce training, apprenticeship programs, educational support through Humboldt State University's new technical and College of the Redwood certification programs to be able to work on these really cutting edge renewable things. So our kids, my daughter, other people can come back to Humboldt and really get good paid, high quality, highly skilled jobs that are going to be here for the long term. And then if there are, and then we want them to do hire local. Hire local. We want them to hire from Humboldt County as much as they can instead of bringing this workforce in from other places. If there are specific impacts to the tribes and fishermen to have community investment funds, which would help to offset some of those so that we can build these the broad-based community sport in our region, because what we're trying to do is get to yes. We've been failed many times. failed. We failed miserably over and over and over again in this county. People that have been here far longer than me have just seen how we blew it over and over again. We have to get to yes. And the community has to say, yes, we want to do this so that we have this broad-based community sport. So I'm just going to kind of jump over to just a couple of other things, and then I'm going to wrap this up. I don't know how much time. You can cut me off at any time if you want to. And so with the broadband, again, it's going to land right here in our property. They've already, by the end of this week, they'll have all of the borings completed from this property. And it basically goes 50 feet under the bottom of the bay for 1.2 miles. And then they plow it from 1.2 miles to approximately 30 miles. It's about 5 feet under the surface. So those cables will be installed by the end of this month. All of the cables 30 miles off. And it goes all the way from the I-5 corridor right to our property. And then it will go to the Taiwan and Singapore are the first two that will go in. And then the other anticipation is that it's going to go to Australia and Japan are the locations. This is amazing for our region because it gives us direct connectivity to Asia. It's really, really important, and it cannot be understated about how important this broadband connectivity is to our region. This is going to be a game changer in the future, and a lot of it you just won't really notice. It's just going to be there, and it is truly going to be a game changer. So this is the cable ship that is in port. This was taken, I think, on Friday or Saturday. And so with the wood chips industry, we're definitely working on this. The biomass power plant, DG Fairhaven, chip export facility, the Green Diamond has, and we desperately need to get a wood pellet manufacturing facility here in Humboldt County. We're prime. The current forest practices are let it burn. It's absolutely a ridiculous forest management process. And it needs to change. We need to be able to be finding uses for these products. And Humboldt County needs to get its place back to be a timber port and a timber-based community. So with the power plant, we need to do an energy island because we have the biomass power plant. The Harbor District has a 730,000 kilovolt system on the warehouse at the brook to really be renewable. And that's a key factor for us. So with the Forest Service in Humboldt County, we're working on to create a forest products innovation zone. And really, again, here's the biomass power plant on the Sonora Peninsula. Here's the DG Fairhaven. Really, in this area, it's primed to be a cluster. So there's a variety of different things with the Forest Service and the county and the port that we're working with the private sector to try to advance forest products and creative industries for our region. And then just finally, just kind of a fun little thing. This is a ship that's coming to port next year. We actually have 4 cruise ships that are scheduled. Hopefully COVID won't make that not happen. But at this point, we have 4 cruise ships for next year, and this is one of those. And so I guess in conclusion, is the Port of Humboldt Bay has been, my board has been working really hard to try to not talk about projects, but to actually put them into implementation. And so we've been working with our international, national, state, local, nonprofits, environmental groups, labor unions, really anybody that wants to work with us. We have a broad tent, and we're not interested in political food fights, and we're not interested in other things. We're really just interested in getting it done and making it happen for our community. And we'll do it behind the scenes, and not to do a lot of fanfare, just get it done. And so with that said, I'm available for any questions if you might have it. Again, my board is really focused on the offshore wind industry, and we really see this as the pathway forward for our region, combined with the Nordic aqua farms and the aquaculture clusters that we've been working on. The broadband cluster we've been focused on. And then also, we are a timber port, and forest products will always be a main mainstay of the Port of Humboldt Bay. And so those are the 4 main groups that we're working on. Just in conclusion, is none of these require a train. We're not opposed to the train, but none of these things require a train. And so we are not actively working on getting the train in Humboldt at this point in time. The offshore wind industry is way too big, and none of the equipment would come in on train anyway. They would all come in by ship. These are really gigantic pieces of equipment. And so again, thank you for your time. I'm available if you have any questions. If not, it's great to be in Fortuna.
Thanks, Larry. I had no idea so much was going on. I mean, I've heard some of it during our CERC meetings and hearing about broadband, and I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, getting broadband access to our area is great. You were talking about if we had the ability to manufacture and assemble the wind turbines, how many jobs do you think versus just assembling them or manufacturing and assembling? How many jobs are you thinking would be created with that option?
Well, we've been meeting with several, East Coast and European companies that are seriously preparing to invest several $100 million into the port of Humboldt. And so in the construction portion of this, there'll probably be about 1,500 jobs in the construction sector. And then depending upon which level of operation they do, whether they're just going to assemble them in other locations and deliver them here, or if they're actually going to manufacture. I don't have those numbers on me, but there was we did a jobs report that came out of that. It was actually funded and prepared by the Department of Defense. And so I just don't have that number with several hundred at a minimum.
Great.
I think
I
Mike
see
has
Mike. Yeah, Mike Losey's hand is up.
Thank you, Renee. Larry, I have a couple of questions with regard to the turbine blades. With full vertical integration, if we are or we're ahead of Morro Bay's implementation, would it be possible that we would be manufacturing these blades for the Morro Bay project as well?
That is correct. That Morro Bay is it's not a true port. I don't want to diminish Morro Bay. It's basically a fishing village. The depths there are about I think they're about 18 feet deep, and so there's no ships that can go in and out of Morro Bay, and so it'd be very difficult for them to do that at that location. And so yes, the idea is to manufacture them here, and then they would be supplied down to Morro Bay as well.
And so the only other option, if we don't have the full vertical integration and manufacturing those blades, they would have to be barged into Humboldt Bay, correct?
That's correct. They would ship them or barge them into Humboldt Bay.
Okay. This is a great project. I mean, I see so many real benefits for the entire county as well as California. You guys are doing an amazing job. Keep it up.
Yeah, I should say that on the South Bay, something that you guys should be considering on with Fortuna in the South Bay is that what's very likely going to happen is that the PG&E power plant is where the power is going to come into. And so if you look at Morro Bay, what they just announced is a gigantic battery storage backup operation that would go in. And so very likely where Woody Murphy's dock is in Fields Landing area, and in that area, there's very likely going to be energy storage and other energy related items that will be around that power plant as this develops. And so those kinds of things, the Fortuna South Bay area should really pay attention to those things.
And just to connect with those comments, with the cable coming offshore into our Humboldt Bay power plant, how are we going to get that power across over to I-5, or is it just going to go to the Bay Area?
Well, again, I try to, my pat line is I work on ports, I do transmission, I try to stay within my lanes, I get quickly out of it. There's really smart people at Humboldt State University in the Shots Energy Lab and the Redwood Coast Energy Authority that are working on that. I'm confident that they're going to figure it out. In addition to the money that I described, in the budget, there's $800,000 that's budgeted to specifically look at that question right now in the state budget.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Any final questions before we let Larry go?
Hey, Renee, this is Heck. So
Hey,
Larry,
Heck.
question related to the fiber optic cable lines coming in. What's the long-term consistent maintenance of that? Is that a very man-powered or human-powered initiative, or will there be not a lot of people that maintain that? What's the direct economic impact of just maintaining those lines?
I would say it's very low. The hope is that they never break and they never go down. And so basically what's happening is if you look at the cables that I was talking about, they're kind of like the big main transmission lines, is that you don't just tap into those. And so if you don't, either Copeland Lumber or Do It Best Lumber was in Arcata, that's where there's a new data hub that's literally under construction right now. And going down Highway 255, it's connecting and it's going right to that data hub. And then from that data hub is where it gets connected into the local community. And then there's another line that's going to go directly from there into Humboldt State University. And that's all part of this connectivity for the university and the Polytechnical. And so what you're going to start, not necessarily with this main transmission line, but really out of that data center that's in Arcata, that's where you're going to start seeing the direct ramifications come through the rest of the community.
Perfect. Thank you.
It's basically just like the PG&E power plant. You can't plug your blender into the power that's coming out of that, directly into the power that's coming out of that power plant. It has to go through a substation.
You'd be in for quite a shock if you tried to do that. Awesome. Well, thank you, Larry. Great presentation. Very exciting stuff happening at the port. More stuff than even I knew. So thank you for a great presentation. And unless there's any final questions, I will let everybody go and enjoy your week. We'll see some of you tonight at the Parks Community Meeting. And then next week, we've got Beth Burks from the Humboldt County Association of Government. So we'll see you all next week, if not sooner. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.